back to Fictional Frontiers, where we bridge the gap between fiction and reality. I am SATYAJIT, and today with us we have a very special guest, a rising science fiction author, Miss Arunika Das. Now, as a proud Bengali myself, the very first thing that comes to mind when spoken to about science fiction is inevitably the diaries of Professor Shanku, written by SATYAJIT Ray. He was a prolific writer, although not professionally trained in science, had a keen interest in it. Now, Ms. Das, as a sci-fi author yourself, which aspect of this prolific author inspired you the most?
That's a very good question. Firstly, I would like to say that there are not many science fiction authors who write in the Bengali language, and there are very few, almost none, who are as good as he was. No one stands even near to the stories that he wrote. His short stories give full rein to his interest in the macabre and also to suspense and other elements which he does not show in his movies. His stories also have a side which explores the scientific or the psychological aspect of the human mind. These are very interesting to me and give insight as well as inspiration for me to write as well.
Absolutely.
They also show or give insight into the bridge between what can be fictional, which is slightly exaggerated, slightly funny, and more understandable to the common man, and what is reality, which is more science-based and technological. Like, for example, in one of the stories of Professor Shanku, he had a robot named Bidhushekar. Now, in one of his experiments, Bidhushekar had directed him as to which chemical to use and which one to not use, even without being programmed to do so. Is this not the very basis of the AI that we see all around us today?
It exactly is. And in one of his stories, which is called Professor Shanku and Teaching, Professor Shanku meets this Chinese magician who uses hallucinogens to ensnare the audience. And this is how hallucinogens have found their use in today's world to tackle various mental conditions.
Talking about mental conditions, let's talk about another aspect of biology which finds its place in one of Professor Shanku's stories. In Professor Shanku and the Mysterious Sphere, we come to know about this sphere, which is mysterious by the way. It changes colors corresponding to a particular time in the day, and it happens each day. This is a very mysterious mystery that captivates Professor Shanku. At the end, we learn that that sphere is a planet of sorts, and the organisms are present in there, and Professor Shanku, with the help of one of his inventions, can hear them. That's how he learns about this. We also know that the change of colors is corresponding to the change of seasons in the planet. 1 year, equivalent to us, the 4 seasons, is analogous to 1 day in that sphere. That's why the colors change. Is this not the way microbiology and the world at the quantum level and at the microscopic level has been brought to us? It's an entire world which we still don't know much about. Most of it is still unknown to us, and we are yet to encounter it. And there's so much more that we don't know about, and there's so much more that we are yet to learn about.
Absolutely. And while this story of his tackles the microbiological aspects, there are so many more stories that link psychology to phantoms, in fact. One of those stories is Professor Shanku and the Ghost. In this story, we see that what we perceive as hallucinations or phantoms are usually just creations of our subconscious mind. And sightings from our daily activities, things that we have already seen, which has already formed an image in the back of our minds, they manifest themselves in front of our eyes, and we just call them hallucinations or phantoms or quote-unquote ghosts.
That is a very interesting take on the concept of phantoms and ghosts. One more story that I would like to talk about, which deals with biology and the rather technological side which is linked to biology, would be Professor Hijibijbij. Professor Hijibijbij is a mad plastic surgeon. This story, while quite unfathomable in the time when he wrote it, plastic surgery is quite common now and is used for both medical and cosmetic purposes. It is quite common to us, but it is an insight to the foresight that the man had.
Another story which comes to mind with this is the hunger of the septopus. Now, in this story, the septopus, it's a man-eating carnivorous plant, and this story raises numerous questions on evolution.
It does.
We humans, we are the apex predators, but for now, for how long will that really remain? Will nature fight back? Please let me know your views on this.
Another aspect of science and technology, which was discussed in one of Satyajit Ray's stories, Onukul, is the use of robots in daily household activities like cleaning, cooking, etc. This concept, entirely unthinkable and unimaginable in the times when he wrote this, is very relevant and quite practical in our times right now. Like, do we not have robots which clean the house for us? Don't we have Alexa which remembers things for us? Does it not do things like playing songs, reminding us sometimes it's connected with the electrical power in our house?
Of course.
Like, it does everything we ask of it. It even searches up things. This is the very concept which has been shown in the story Onukul. One more interesting aspect of the story is that it discusses and talks about the ethical rules and the nature that we need to adopt when we have robots. Like the way we cannot slap them or we cannot harm them. This is also an insight into the human mind, how it works. This is a very interesting story because we see it all around us today. It's more practical. We can see it in front of us. It's more important to us nowadays than it was to them.
That's right. All these stories written a long time ago, they are a testament to the true genius that Satyajit Ray was. And sitting here today, right now, they hold more relevance than ever before. Now, thank you so much for tuning in with us today.